Hey guys, this is Einar. I hope you're doing great today. Welcome to your 20th tutorial in the course in Basic Statistics in Excel that we're working on, and today we're going to create a box plot. A box plot illustrates variation in a material using our quartiles and our median right here. And before I explain more about that, I just think we should get right to it and create the box plot. This is going to be slightly tricky to do in Excel 2007, but it is possible with the use of some creative thinking, so to speak. So the first thing we need is that we need our box plot to show distances between these points rather than their absolute values. So we're going to have to calculate this in a new area, which I've called in Swedish here Boxplotvärden. It means box plot values. So we begin. Well, the minimum's distance from 0 in this case will be 12, just like it is now. But when you get to the first quartile, you don't want the distance from 0, which this measures. You want the distance from the minimum. So I will choose my first quartile value and subtract the minimum value from that. And I get a distance of 2.19 from the minimum to the first quartile. In the case of the second quartile, I need the distance from the second quartile to the first quartile, and I get a value of 5.17. I do the same thing for the third quartile, minus the second quartile, and I get 7.77. And finally, I want the max values distance from the third quartile. Okay, so we got a bunch of distances here that we're ready to put into a box plot. The first thing I do is I select both of these areas right there. I go to Insert, and instead of showing column as we've done, a lot so far in this tutorial, we're going to choose bar, and we're not going to choose this one up here in the top left corner, which we've done so far a lot. We're going to choose a stacked bar chart. So we do that, and we get this kind of weird diagram. I know it looks strange, but we're going to get working on this now. I'm going to remove the series to begin with. It doesn't make any sense right now to have them there. I right-click. Oops, you won't see that, of course. I right-click. I choose Select Data. Now in this area, I actually want to switch the rows and the columns. So I want the distances on this area, on this x-axis right here. And we get something that looks kinda like a box plot. But we just want the box here in the middle, which shows the distances from the first quartile to the third quartile. So this point right here is the first quartile, this point right here is the median, and this point right here is the third quartile. So these parts we're not very interested in. So we're gonna make them invisible by selecting them like this, clicking once on them. We right click and we go to Format Data Series. In this menu right here we choose Fill and we choose No Fill, and you can see it disappears. Now if you want to select this again, it could actually be quite tricky. So what you can do then is you can select one of the boxes which is still highlighted, and then you use your arrow keys to move in between them. And sometimes you have to hit them twice, sometimes you have to hit them once. I'm not really sure why actually, but this is one way of doing it. We want this box to be invisible as well, so we Format Data Series, we choose Fill and No Fill, and that goes away as well. And finally the same thing for the topmost box right there. We go to Fill, No Fill, and we close it. Okay, so this is starting to look like a box plot, but we want these whiskers, and what these whiskers are, they show us the distance to the minimum value in this case and to the maximum value in this case. So what we do is we go to, using our arrow keys, we select this little box down here because this is the minimum right there. We want an arrow bar right there, so we have to go to Layout right here, and we want arrow bars. None of these will do. We will actually have to go to more arrow bar options. And in this menu, we will select minus because we want the arrow bar to go towards minus. And we will fill in a percentage here because we want 100% of the box that we're interested in. And then we get this little arrow bar which covers 100% of our box right up to the point where our minimum is located actually. We want to do the same thing, but for an arrow bar going this way, and it's going to be slightly different. We're going to select the topmost box right here. We're going to go back to arrow bars, choose arrow bar options, and this time we want it to go towards plus, so I select this. Okay, that's one step of the way. We want it to go to plus. But we're not going to be able to use percentages here or anything. We're going to have to go to custom, and this is kind of tricky. We're going to have to go to specify value. Now in this positive arrow value, we want to select our maximum value, which is 8.88. So while it is selected in black like this, I just choose 8.88 right there, and I click OK. I close this, and we have our topmost whisker. So this is starting to look like a really nice box plot. I'm just gonna delete that, and we don't need this number 1 here, so we select, let's see if I can select this, you select this y-axis, whoops, you right click, you go to format axis. Now in this menu you can actually choose to remove all the values on this y-axis, but you go to axis labels, you choose this menu and you choose none right there. And when you choose none, it disappears and you don't have the number 1 there. Number 1 doesn't mean anything in this case, so it's there's no point in having it. To many people this is enough for our box plot, but if we want to make this even nicer and have some values for our first quartile, our median, and our third quartile, there's another trick we can do. If I actually select one of these bars, I right click it and I choose add data labels, I get a data label for this bar. Now this is 5.17, which shows the distance from this point to this point in this case, but we don't want it to show that. We want it to show this point, which is the first quartile. We want it to show we want it to show the value here of our first quartile, which is 14.19. So if I highlight, click on it once, and then double click it, and I can highlight the text, and I can actually edit it by hand. So what I do is I write 14.19. And then I can click on it, and if I hold it down, I can move it around, so I can place it there manually. And I get, okay, this point is at 14.19. That's the first quartile. If I want to do the median, I can not actually do this again. You see, there's no option for adding data labels for this because we've already done it for this one. So I'm going to have to select another bar. We can choose one of the invisible ones, for example. Oops. This is kind of tricky, I know. So just bear with me. Oh yeah, right. You move with your arrow keys over to this, and you have to, when you right click this time and it's invisible, make sure you right click on the lines when it's like plus like that, and then you can actually add data labels. And 2.19 shows up there. I'm gonna move it out here so it's easier to see. I double click it and I can edit it, and what we want now is we want our median, which is 19.36. I click and I hold it and pull it right over here, and I can put my little category axis. Now this is you're gonna have to do this by hand and put some time into it to make it look nice, you know. But this is, you know, it's a lot of work to do this actually, but you know, it's worth it. I move up to my highest bar here. Oh, there we go. I right click, I add my data labels, and instead of 8.88 there, I will write 27.13, and I will move this up to my topmost limit right there. So we now have some labels for our first quartile, our median, and our highest quartile. Now they're unevenly placed, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on fixing that right now. This is good enough for now. You can spend time on making it nicer for your paper or presentation or whatever you're doing. But that's how you create a box plot in Excel 2007. After some hard work, it's possible. I hope you have a good day, and I wish you good luck in playing around. If you can improve this even more, you're very welcome to do it. So have a nice day, good luck, and bye-bye.